Welcome back, you lot. It's that time again. It's that time where we take a look at some offerings from Bestiarum Games. I love doing these. The fact that they do have these collections every single month means that once a month at least, I get to go and look at their website and go, they've done it again. They've made something grim. They've made something horrific, and I'm all in. I just can't help myself. They're too much fun. And we're going to take a look at December's offering, which is Echoes of the Seraphim, which just from that little preview there already looks real promising. Look at that massive chunky lad on the left there. Good lord. We're going to take a look at them in just a moment. Christmas is nearly upon us, and you know what? Christmas is a time to be spent with friends, with family, with those that you love, and to shower them with affection and, if you've got the cash, a few gifts here and there. But let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you not also love your miniatures? Do you not love them for how much time you've spent painting them, assembling them, making them just right for you? Do you not have so many hours of time and care invested into them that you would want to keep them safe? What is this ad? If so, well, I've got good news for you, because this video is sponsored by Warmag. Imagine how smooth that could have been if I wasn't laughing at my own stupid introduction. Warmag is my favourite miniatures, transportation and storage system. You get yourself a really useful box like this one. You get one of their amazing base sheets, which come in a variety of colours and designs, and then, crucially, you get yourself some of their magnets that fit within the rim of the base of your miniature, because that way there isn't any unsightly nonsense going on around the underside of the mini. Once you've got all that sorted, you simply take your lad, you place him in there, and you're set, you're free. You can do what you like, you can throw it around. Now, if you fancy getting your miniatures a little bit of safety and security this festive season, you can use my discount code KIRIOTH at checkout, and you will receive 15% off your purchase right up until Christmas Day. That is 15% off anything and everything. So now is the time to grab yourself a little bit of Warmag goodness. You'll find a link in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Thank you very much to Warmag for sponsoring this video and for putting up with my absolute nonsense. Alright, let's take a look at some miniatures, shall we? So, we've got the Seraphic Guardian, we've got Lamadra the Teacher, the Oculus Apostle, Seraphic Cultists, Vigilants, and there's also a bunch of scenery as well, which just from that little preview image, I'm going to be using that. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to. A pillar with a big eye that's being held by two hands. Just sign me up. Sign me up right now. We'll start out with the Seraphic Guardian. A colossal gatekeeper whose mercy lies in destruction. So no actual mercy, just getting absolutely smacked around. Okay, cool. Good to know. They're so good at mixing unsettling stuff with, like, quite well done physiology. I don't know how else to phrase it. Like, if it wasn't for all the bony spikes and the exposed spinal column, I'm saying this and realizing that it sounds increasingly outlandish, because it's like, if you ignore half of what the miniature is, it would just look like an absolutely huge guy, like a proper Hulk figure. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's the way they quite often mix maybe exaggerated physiology, but fairly human physiology nonetheless, with these horrific extras that I really, really love the way they do this stuff. So, interestingly, it looks like that bone stuff, like all the spikes and stuff coming out of the spinal column there, we've got a bit of a wing motif there, which is very nice, given its echoes of the Seraphim. Now, this is a follow-on pack from another pack they did, which I think was just it was the Court of the Seraphim or something. We will go back another time and look at that as well, because that's fantastic. We may have already taken a look, thinking about it. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. But, I mean, straight off, the big eye that is attached to, I mean, it looks alarmingly like intestine, but the way it's grown out of that neck, and then there's a couple of smaller eyes that are sort of coiled round it, it's very alarming. Also, the eye itself. Now, I'm assuming, given that it's Bestiarum, if we can see a bunch of texture where, like, the iris would be, there'll be a bunch of texture there. This will be an eye that is partially, like, hollowed out, so you have that texture in the centre. It's not going to be just a globe with a few tendrils off it. It's going to be grosser than that. So if they've put the work in on the preview to make it look like that, that's what it's going to be when you print it. Which I think makes it worse. Like, worse in a good way. Not worse in a quality way, worse in a that's horrific way. Because just a big orb That's alarming enough. When you've got actual texture in there, and it's an eye, but there's like a cavity, that it's like the lens is missing out the front, that's way worse to me for some reason. I couldn't really tell you why, because it's pretty horrible either way, but that's... Ugh. Right. I like the armour again. Armour looks great. Got a nice bit of filigree, bit of decoration. The collar as well, I like that a lot. I like the fact that it's capped off. It makes it look far more designed. The fact that this is potentially was previously at some point, a human or humanoid figure that has now got this weird seraphim corruption stuff going on. I think that looks way cooler because it looks designed and engineered, which is more horrible. Yeah, those spikes are very cool. I mean, they're going to get me. They're going to get me with the zoom in. They did it last time. They're going to do it again. But this one, oh, you can really see that eye, though. You can really see that. Imagine the texture that's going to come out of that with a bit of dry brushing. Oh, awful. Also, the way the skin is ripped down the back, that is going to get a bit of proper. It's the Tamiya X27 red in there, very specific, but it looks very bloody. It looks like really wet, glistening blood. Get that down the back of this. Oh, it's going to look great. Horrible, but great. Yeah, I like that. I like the wing motif. That's very fun. The cloth looks decent. The little amulets hanging off the belt, again, kind of makes it seem like there's a bit of an honour thing going on here, even though it probably isn't an honour, or at least it doesn't look like it from the outside. So chunky. Pretty decent size as well. I like that this is quite a big miniature, but it's also crouched. It's very hunched. There's something about that where instead of it being like a huge centerpiece of look how just overall tall and impressive this figure is, there's something a bit more animalistic going on. Shrinking it down, there's still a lot of detail. It does make it a little bit smaller, but in a way there's like a kind of foreboding thing of, can you imagine how bad this is going to be if that thing stands up? Like, that's going to be rough. And I quite like that. What are we talking parts-wise? The horrible intestine eyeballs are a separate piece. Oh, the awful things you could kit bash with that. That's, hell yeah, what a choice. Love it. Next up, we've got the Oculus Apostle. What's this like? A prophet-made weapon whose gaze opens the mind to divine madness. Okay, alright. Oh, lovely. So, right. I think there is a human head in there. Oh, it's underneath the hood. The big pointy hood. Okay, so we've got a big pointy hood, but the whole face is in there. No eye holes, but then why would you need eye holes? Because you've got a giant eye sprouted out of your chest that has broken and expanded the rib cage that itself contains 3 other eyes, but don't worry, you've also got eyes on tentacles coming out of you as well. The pointing hand, like the fact that it's sort of draped out like that, makes it look far too purposeful. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near that. That is a hand of judgment if I've ever seen it. And the whole, like, opening the mind to divine madness, very cool, but also very grim. The amulet that's hanging down from the tattered robes around the waist, that isn't another eye, but with the eyelids as well. For some reason, that's just awful. It looks like it's also looking at where the hand's pointing as well. So even the jewellery is staring at you with this lot. Even the bling wants you to go wild in the aisles. There's something really gross about that. It's like, what is that thing? What's it called? Is it trypophobia? Where it's like if you see it's like a bunch of small holes or whatever, and people really hate it, or at least have an involuntary reaction to it. I don't have that, but if I did, that already looks uncomfortable to me. That looks really gross. Oh. Also, look at the amount of texture and detail on the bone. From the ribs that have been sort of exploded outwards. What a statement. What a sentiment. I mean, they really do go hard with it. They don't need to go that hard. You know, I'm not going to be sitting there going, well, actually, I think you'll find the ribs seem a little smooth for my liking. No, I'm more sort of taken aback by the whole rest of this thing. But they put that detail in. That's a lot of tentacles. That's a lot of tentacles. Again, though, we have a bit of a wing, not like symmetry analogy. I'm trying to think of the right word. It looks like where you would get wings from. It's like a sort of twisted mirror of where the wings would be on an angel. It's like a kind of twisted mirror as to where the wings would be on an angel. That's just very cool. I like that a lot. Get really nice cloth, but then they always do great cloth. So, oh, he's a pretty chunky boy. Pretty chunky boy. So he's, blimey. I thought this guy was just going to be normal lad size, but no, he's actually a bit taller than the Guardian. Huh? That's very fun. Makes it even more alarming. There's something very like Dark Souls boss about guys who from a distance just look like they'd be normal human size, but then you get up close and it's like, oh, why is she 11 feet tall? And the answer is simply because she's 11 foot tall. What do you want? This has that kind of vibe. Not a complaint. Next up, we've got the Seraphic Cultists, zealous devotees of the Seraphim, blinded by divine light, yet guided by unseen voices. Like that a lot. Good range of weaponry. We've got some what are they called? The Voldo style, like hand blades. What a terrible description. Well, I suppose technically Voldos were more claws, but they could get a weapon for him in one of, probably multiple of the Soul Calibur games, where they were more like a single blade. We've got a few of those. We've got a few swords. Like the design of the swords, actually. The design of the swords is fun, and it's kind of mirrored in the design of the daggers as well. Looks like we've got a bit of a polearm situation, too. All of them, obviously, no eyes. You're not surprised. I mean, it said blinded, so it'd be weird if they did have eyes. Although they could have just, like, burnt out. Why am I trying to give them ideas? Somewhere between emaciated and kind of muscly, which is a fun look. Like, there's some definite definition going on here and there when it comes to, especially in the sort of ab region. But then the ribs are so, like, the skin's so tight over the bone. It's an interesting combination. I quite like it. They look emaciated and thin, but also still kind of dangerous, and not just because they're holding big old swords and the like. Again, the cloth looks really good. I like the little bits of armour they've got here and there in these decorations that are like relatively like sparing on the models, but do give them a bit of variation. Nice mix of like hairstyles and stuff as well. Oh dear lord, they're oh god, are those earrings, or have they just grown into the? No, is that like stretched? Is that like a stretched earlobe, but it's got one of the? Oh no! Oh god! Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Oh yeah. Little things here like the sword pommel. It's got the eye in it. There's also one like growing out of the forehead, which is a bit more easily recognisable. But I do like that. That's pretty fun. But then some of them don't have any visible eyes at all outside of these amulets that go over the forehead. Definitely a nice mix though. Nice mix of different personalisations going on. That dude has got a hell of a beard and a hell of a moustache. That is like not quite a lifetime's work, but we're not far off there. He also really looks like he could do with a good meal. I love that pose. Very cool pose. Again, the way the eyes have been scooped out, it's so much missing there. It's so upsetting. Little different bit of armour going on there as well. Very, very fun. I like them. They're very, very fun. I like them a lot. Now got the Oculus Vigilants, Silent Watchers clad in faith and iron. Well, partially clad in iron. Unmoving beneath the sun. Okay. The shields, I already love them. Love the shields. They're absolutely massive, which is an immediate bonus. A giant tower shield is up there on the list of cool stuff. The armour, such as it is, there's very little of it. Like, I would argue they are definitely more clad in faith than iron. Like, I don't think... Yes, there is a certain amount of padding around the midriff. Not meant in a mean way. I've got a bit of that myself. But there's significantly less iron in terms of what they're wearing than there is not iron. But at the same time, those shields count for a lot. And their four-eyed helmets, Sounds like a euphemism, but I don't know what that would be a euphemism for. Something unpleasant, but I'm not really sure what. Those are very cool. I really like that combination. That is a very fun combination. The weapons look a bit mad, but I do quite like the overall like feel of them. I think I have a weird issue, and this is something that I don't really know where it's come from, but when it comes to like great swords especially, whether it's someone holding it in one hand or two hands, I almost feel like I'm weirdly traditionalist. I like a sword that is a big long, plank of metal to just have a pointed end, and that's about it. Now, if the blade is nicked, or if there's little bits of stuff going on, like damage or wear, or even like a serrated edge for added horrible tortureness, that's all fine. But the aesthetic of like a rounded end on a sword, or a flat end, like an executioner's blade, for instance, where you've got like either a rounded or flat end on it, I just don't like the look of it. I just don't like the look of it. I don't like extra stuff, and I don't like stuff cut off. And it's a weird thing to be hung up about, because there are so many other sword designs that I really like, but for some reason, specifically when it comes to great swords, I just love a massive slab of metal with a point on it that's sharp on one or both edges. That's all I need. So for stuff like this, I'm like, I really like it, really like it, really like it. Oh, it's got a big thing on the end. Oh, but I suppose the big thing does kind of have a bit of, there's an equivalence there with what's going on in the design of the shield, so it does sort of make sense, and there's also a certain equivalence as to what's going on with the overall body shape of the guy holding it, but I think I would just prefer it if it was just a big sword, which is very boring of me, but again, not necessarily an indictment of the miniature, just, I don't know, one of those things that I'm not necessarily weird about, just a preference. We've all got them, right? I do like the beard variation on these guys. That's very nice. Got a good long single plait on the one, got a double plait on the other, and more of a casual short on the third guy there. Really, for me, the star of these, it's the Great Shield. It's just, the Great Shield looks fantastic. I like the way the eye is embedded into it. I love all the decoration that's going around the outside of the eye. There's this kind of, it's more eyes, but you sort of have to look at it for a moment to spot it. At first, it's just like, oh, there's a bunch of decoration and filigree, and then when you look at it again a bit harder, it's like, oh, it's more eyes surrounding the giant eye in the middle. I like that a lot. And again, Bestiarum are great at producing texture on their materials, whether it's cloth or metal or wood or whatever. Those shields have got a lovely amount of texture. There's a bit of damage, there's some dents, there's some scratches, but it's spread out in a way that feels natural or like appropriate for the use it would see. Love it. Big fan of that. I think they always do that super well. What a beard. What a beard on the man. Amazing work. Oh yeah. No, that's solid. That's quality. If you can print those shields separately, I'll be all over them like you wouldn't even believe. I kind of hope that they are. I really do. It's a single piece. It's a single piece. I can understand why, but I'm actually of the opinion that's a little bit of a shame. It might be that they do a kit bash set of this stuff at some point in the future, but those shields are very, very fun, and I would love to be able to use them on other stuff. Next up, we've got Lamadra the Teacher, a wandering oracle whose blinding faith burns flesh and soul alike. Nice. So, creepy wizard. And, yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's a very creepy wizard. Again, fairly emaciated, but not so much that it looks like a stiff breeze would do her in. That is a very thick staff. That's the kind of thing where my immediate assumption, due to the size of that staff and how big it is compared to her, how thick it is that is an artifact that has either been found or handed down. Because, I mean, look at the scale of it. It's massive. Having that, like, two hands holding the eye motif at the top, really like that. Again, having the wings, super cool. There's the face. I knew it was going to zoom into the face. Devoid of eyes once again. Got a little amulet again across the middle of the forehead. Looks really good. Bandages around the upper torso. I love a bit of bandage work. You can get some really nice textures and stuff out of the bandages that Bestiarum do, because for me, I like to airbrush them white and then use a load of streak and grime and like, get really, really dirty. Then get rid of the grime, but leave a good chunk of it, especially in the gaps between. I mean, it makes them look a bit like soiled bandages more than like clean ones, but it looks super, super gruesome and grim, so... And 52 again. Mind you, a lot of that is the staff. The staff is doing a lot of that work there. Quite like the fact that the cloth on her is at odds with some of the cloth on the other stuff. A lot of the cloth we've seen across these miniatures has been ragged and torn. She does not have that problem. Hers is pretty much intact, very flowing. I like that separation. The arm is still damaged, but the skirt still being whole. I don't know, that kind of gives an added air of importance, I feel. Finally, we've got the Voidtouched Temple Ruins. Haunted sanctums pulsing with living eyes that watch all who enter. I mean, straight off, love the palm with the eye in the centre. Love the two hands cradling an eye. They just look great. Look really, really nice. And I printed some like columns that Bestiarum have done before that have had these kind of engravings and stuff in them. Different designs to this, but they come out super well out of the Reflex RS that I've got. Like the textures are just really nicely done, and the designs that are carved in are so smooth on the prints that I really want to print some of this stuff. It really looks like the eyes are just being grown. Like, it's kind of taken me until now to really think about it, but it looks like the eyes are just growing out of this stuff, and that makes it so much worse. And I'm assuming, yeah, that is people that have been kind of crushed between two stone pedestals, and they've got stuff growing out of their face that is also eyes. Oh, dear. Oh dear. And the thing is, you could go, well, you're probably reading too much into it. They're probably also stone. It's just a sculpture. It's not. It's not. It's Bestiarum. It's not just being a sculpture, is it? It's going to be actual people, and they are going to be there forever. They're probably still alive in some way. Those two, those are the ones for me. Those are the ones. I absolutely love those. The carved runes look fantastic. I like the fact that although they've used the same pillar twice, you do have these two different toppings. Like, you can get away with like printing a couple of each, and there'll be enough variation there that I don't think you'd really be... I don't know. When it comes to scenery, I'm not that fussed with repeated patterns. When it comes to squads, and it's like, here's the same guy in the same pose 4 times over, that I don't like. That I'm not a fan of. But when it comes to terrain, you're not looking that closely. It's set dressing, and this is really nice set dressing, don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to be looking at it and going, oh, well, I can see the same runes repeated on these 4 pillars. Instead, I'm going to be going, well, now that the players know they've walked into this room with these 4 god-awful pillars that are staring at them, I want to see what they do. I really like those, though. Really like them. You know when there's a good bit of like scenery or terrain that you can print or that you've found when you're immediately constructing a scenario as to how to use them in your head? That's the mark of them, and that's what I'm getting off those. That whole lot look fantastic. I really like them. Again, would I prefer that the great swords are simply giant swords? Yes. I'm plain and basic in that way, but I really like the design of everything else. And the eyes are super well done, because they're horrific. They're absolutely horrible, and I love them for that. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of that lot in the comments down below. Thank you once again to Warmag for sponsoring this video. Again, if you use the discount code Kirioth at checkout, you'll get 15% off right up until Christmas Day, so do get on that if you want to give your miniatures a present. Ridiculous. Thank you again very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.